Well, I have to take a pause from working in the Connex to get something done with that drive. So it's just too muddy for the bulldozer to come down. And believe it or not, I can't buy gravel in this county because it's all going to Elon Musk and, I don't know, roads and little guys like me. I would have to drive all the way up to Georgetown, Texas to get myself some gravel. So back goes on the backhoe here. Alrighty. So it's been sitting there a little while. I see it's down on the ground. The hydraulics have slowly bled out. Next time I'll put a block of wood underneath it to keep it up off the ground. But, I swapped it out so that I could use my shredder. That pasture looks good, so it was well worth it. So the first thing I noticed is that all the fittings, hydraulic fittings, the ones that weren't used are dirty. I'm going to get some WD-40 in there and clean that out. I noticed all of the pins are filled with mud and gravel, and a little WD-40 to start with will make this project a little easier, I think. And it's a little past lunch already. Who knows how rather Hank's got his, but I don't have mine. Yeah, all kinds of dirt's running out of there. I don't want that in my hydraulics hose. So I've done another one of these videos on taking the backhoe off, and this is the reverse process, but it's been off all winter, so I'm cleaning everything up, blasting off the mud. I don't want to put these joints straight on all of that. I'm also inspecting the bolts that are on the differential, make sure they're torqued down okay. I had a problem last year from the factory where they were loose. So a lot's going on here that doesn't look like a lot, it looks like, but I am inspecting all the bolts and all of the fittings, blowing off all of the dirt on that. You do not want that to have the load on there. So the goal is there's 2 pins that hook on the bottom, and then there's 2 bolt pins that go in through the top that tie it down. So to get this thing up off the ground, first I have to get the hydraulics in there. A little bit of a problem is that, I'm jockeying the tractor around with the hydraulics hooked up. That's never a good idea, but I'm being extra careful. I've got it in low as I'm moving things back and forth. So blasting off all that little dust and dirt and everything. I want those hydraulic fittings to be in good shape. Here's an inspection of the pins. I have a shear pin that came out on this side, so this pin here is coming out a little bit. I'll put a cotter pin through it for the moment. But I'm missing a couple of shear pins. Right there I'm missing one. Down there I'm missing one. Alrighty. So I'm satisfied. I cleaned out this hydraulic fitting, which will be the return. I'll hook these up, get it off the ground. Now before you do anything with hydraulics, you gotta do the multi-point drain, which I just did. So here I am just taking the 3 different hydraulic hoses, and when you remove the bucket, you actually put the hydraulic hose back on itself and leave the 3rd fitting unattached to anything. So you have the fittings for the outriggers, and then you have multiple fittings running up to your bucket. So you need a 3-point for the bucket, but only 2 to lift the hitch for, let's say, a shredder or something like that. So I'm lining them all up. I don't think you can hook them in backwards or wrong. I don't think that's possible. I just get them right. So you want to inspect them. So 2 of them are males and 1's a female, and I don't think they'll all engage each other. But be careful hooking this up. Make sure it's clean. You don't want to dirty up your hydraulic lines and mess everything up. The other thing is if I would have gotten something underneath there, I would have been able to back into this thing a little easier. So you'll see that I'm doing something a little risky in that I have the hydraulic lines hooked up to the tractor. And then I'm still jockeying it around in order to get it on the bottom pins. And then you know, I'm raising and lowering it to get it into the top pins. So that's not something that I'd recommend anybody does. That's just something that happened to me. So and the top pins, you'll got each pin has a swivel lock that you'll put on it, but the bottom ones just rest on the hooks on the bottom, and it all goes together. So the outriggers lift it up, and it's at a little bit of a tilt. And then once you get the bottom hooks on, then you use the bucket to tip the bucket up into the slot, and you put the pins all the way into that, and then you'll be there. So, but it's all hydraulic pressure. You don't want this blowing in your eyes. So you'll see that I am wearing my safety glasses as I'm doing all this. I don't want to take any chances like that. There is a little extra slack in there as well that you don't see. I had run it in the previous video. If you find that, I'll post it in here. You'll see that I was a little more of a step-by-step guy originally, taking it off. So it's just a reverse process. But I am getting all of this ready for digging and getting my fixing my drive. So I figured I'd do a quick segue into setting up a you know, a front end loader for me to do this.
I'll back up just a smidgen too. Just a smidgen. Pressure on those lines, so I backed up. Now I need to get this up off the ground so that I can put it on there. I got it kind of at a bad angle, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have to mess around with it for a little while. That backhoe hooks this pin to that body on both sides, and it's lined up. So theoretically, if I adjust these outriggers, I'll just drop that right down in there. So that's what I'm going to be working on right here. I want to do this without getting hurt. On the bottom pin, and I'm going to use the arm. I'm going to swivel the arm up. Right here, you see this pin? I'll swivel that arm right up into there, and I do that using the bucket. So I'm going to climb up on there and move around. a plan of attack for this mess, but I went out and I put flags wherever there was standing water during the rainstorm, and it all comes down, runs down this way, and fills this up. Now, anybody that's been watching for a while, those logs aren't wash-in, right? I threw them in there so I could go across this. I've seen dualies stuck here, and I've seen side-by-side stuck here. So what I'm going to do, I think, is dig a little ditch. Not a very big one. Break the, scrape the mud into where it belongs. Get this water filling in. Then I'm going to dig all of that out. Get the logs out of there, reuse the dirt here, kind of start building this up. And I'm going to build a little pond, retention pond there, so that the water will run this way. I do have a plastic 8-inch, I don't know, by 10, maybe 12, 16 foot, I don't know, well, drain. But I kind of would like a 20-foot steel one. And it's Sunday, I don't have anywhere I can go buy that. But come Monday, I'll do that. But I'll start getting dirt moved and get this flowing.